Welcome back to the Cultural Curriculum Chat podcast, where we explore leadership, culture, creativity, and the systems we're brave enough to reimagine. Today's guest is someone whose work sits at the intersection of art, equity, and structural change, not just in what we see on stage, but in how creative labor is valued behind the scenes. I'm joined by Ben Zingos, Executive Director of Space Pirates Theater Collective, a Los Angeles based nonprofit theater company that is doing something truly historic. In 2026, SPTC will become the first American theater to run a full season of radically affordable production tickets at just $10, while simultaneously paying every artist and crew member an equal living wage and offering them an equity stake in each production. This isn't just about theater, it's about labor, community, resistance, and what it looks like to build cultural institutions that actually align with the values they claim. Ben, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, thanks for coming on the show. I just want to start out, at the beginning. What inspired you to start Space Pirates Theater Collective? And what gap did you see out there?
I think the real starting moment for it was when I was in undergrad. I was taking a theater production class, and one of our major projects was to essentially create a theater company. You establish where it is, what the size of it is, what its yearly budget is. You're given a yearly budget that's reasonable for a theater of that size. And you basically just have to plan a full season, account for all the wages, all of the design costs, all the costumes, props, all that jazz. And basically you just had to with the budget you were given, make a full season kept to that budget. And so I picked a relatively big theater in the Bay Area, not huge, but decent sized, with $1 million season production budget, which is for a big city, medium to medium big.
Okay.
And in that, I had my artistic director making like $96,000 a year, very much a living wage. And I had the lowest paid person on the staff was the um, front of house manager, and they were making like 77 or 78, not less, but not that much less. And I made the budget work. It was all good. All the production stuff made sense. And I gave my presentation, and a teacher or a professor literally laughed in my face, like in front of the whole class, and was just like, yeah, no, you will never find an artistic director willing to work for under 140, $150,000 a year. And most of them expect in the upper hundreds to 200, low 200s range because they have PhDs or at least an MFA. And I was like, but if I pay them that much, then I can't pay the other people working there a living wage. And she was like, welcome to theater. And so I was like, okay, that's awful. I hate that. And so that inspired me a lot. Um, because I was just like, wow, there's really like no way. And then I thought about it. I was like, well, what if the artistic director, person at the top making these decisions, just isn't greedy, and it chooses to be the one making the same as everyone else, and or at least near enough. Because again, in that example, I said they're making significantly more a year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But for a lot of people who have that level of education, they think that because they have a master's or a PhD, they deserve dramatically more money than someone who doesn't. And my view on it is just that if you're running a good theater production, if you're the producer, everyone you hire should be essential. If you're hiring unessential people, you're a bad producer.
Yes,
That's
yes.
just how that works, because then you're paying people you don't need to be paying. And so it's like, if
Mm,
you've been hired, by definition, if I'm doing my job, you are essential. And if you're essential, that means we can't do the show without you. So why do you
mm,
not deserve the same pay as me, who is all
mm,
I am
mm.
also essential? Like, I'm the producer, I'm the scenic designer. I I deserve to be paid as well, obviously, but, like,
Yes.
that understudy or that, front of house person, like, just because they don't have a degree and are doing an area of work on the production, like say they're security or say they're, front of house, or one of the things where like you generally won't have a degree if you're doing that job for a living, like
Mhm.
most people don't.
Yeah.
Um, why do you deserve significantly less money than the people who do have a degree? And our society is set up in such a way it's like, oh, well, you go to college and you get a degree and that makes you earn more money. And it's like, sure, that is fair. That's a cool concept. You worked hard for it. I understand. But as soon as it's at the expense of the other people around you, for me,
Mm.
that's ethically not okay. Like, I'm not okay with making more money than someone else who is struggling because I'm making so much more money.
I see that. Yeah, yeah.
So, like,
Yeah,
that's how my brain works. That's how I view money. And
yeah.
so, like, I realized, like, okay, well, if I make it equal, like, if I'm the person in charge, I am pretty objectively doing the most work, producer,
Yeah, yeah.
at least until the show's running.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I am doing the most,
Yeah.
like
The
logistically
vision
speaking,
the
and like
vision,
making
how
things
everything.
happen.
Yeah.
And if I'm doing that and I'm making, that wage, then my hope is that it inspires other people who are also in those more historically high paid positions, people like directors, creatives, playwrights, um, and hell, though honestly, they're still all three of those roles are historically underpaid compared to like administrators and other people in
Yeah.
charge of companies. So like,
Yeah.
but like even still, like those people make significantly more than your ushers or understudies or that kind of stuff generally. So the hope is that everyone having that flat pay scale and making that same base wage that is a living wage being from the top
Yes.
down will,
Yes.
not create those negative feelings. Cause also a lot of times, like people just feel less valued if they're being paid less. Obviously, that's literally
Yes.
you're being valued
Yes.
less. Like that's actually
Yes.
what that means.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the idea is to just really eliminate that feeling. But at the same time, and for me, it had to be affordable. Like you can't have it be inaccessible for working people because I grew up working class, had a single mom, public school teacher. Like it is
Mom too, Ben. I'm telling you. Yes. Same. Yes. Love
yeah,
that.
single mom,
Yes.
not teacher. Uh, she's my mom's amazing. She's the only reason I'm here at all or able to
Uh,
be successful. I owe everything to
mm,
her.
uh,
But she worked really, really hard when I was a kid to try to give me everything she possibly could. I wanted to
mm,
see theater. She wanted to take me. She loves theater too. So, it was a really nice mother-son thing to do together. But the issue
yeah.
was she didn't get paid that much because she's a public school
Mhm.
teacher.
Oh, yeah. I've
And
been there.
so it's like tickets were minimum for the nice theaters, like 40, 50, $60 a piece. So that was a
Mm,
real special occasion for me. And so it's like,
yeah.
what if those tickets had been $10? How many more plays would I have seen as a kid? How many more musicals? How many more things how many more of those amazing theater nights and experiences would I had with my mom? How many more
Yeah.
memories would I have with her? Like if those were affordable. So like that's why I really want to make the things that I make affordable is because like I don't want me as a kid to be unable to enjoy it.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love all of that. And even how you talked about your professor, first of all, that professor shouldn't have laughed at you, especially made you feel shame in front of other things. That's my teacher hat. Like, at least put the guy, put Ben to the side, be like, okay, let's give you a little, reality
In
checks.
her defense,
Yeah.
she was not like a full-time, like, professor.
Yeah.
She had just graduated, and it was, like, her
So,
first year lecturing, and she also had extensive background working in the regional theater scene in the US, and
okay.
so
Yeah.
she was speaking from a very personal place of, "I have been the exploited theater person. I know how much these artistic directors make." I'm trying not to curse because this is an educational thing.
I feel
Like,
you. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
this is why I know from my personal experience that
Got
that's
it.
not
It's
gonna
more
happen.
protection.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Got
was
it.
how
Not
it was
shame, but
phrased.
protection.
Yeah, it
Okay.
wasn't
I
about shaming, but
see.
she was, like, genuinely surprised that I thought that an artistic director would be willing to make under $100,000 a year, you know?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, th that is just a result of how she had been treated because, I mean,
Yes.
I don't know exactly her life story, but I'm pretty sure she got her bachelor's, went and worked in theater,
Mhm.
and then came back for her master's, and then that
Yeah.
was her first year teaching after she just finished the master's. And so
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
she'd had like 10 years of working in the regional theater scene and being exploited and
Oh,
mistreated. So it's
yes.
like I don't really hold it against her for having that
Oh, no,
reaction,
no. No,
but
no, but
it
you're
taught me a
right.
lot though. And so I think it was a
Yeah.
valuable reaction she had because it was like, wow, this is a person who has lived the experience of what I'm talking
Yes.
about. And this is their
Yeah.
visceral reaction, you know?
Yeah, and giving you that hierarchy of it all. Like you said, I feel like how you put it that way, there's like the security guard and the front house manager and the usher. Just because they don't have, the institutional background, to be up, at least they still want to be a part of that community in their own way. And like you said, each role is essential to make a theater function and work and run smoothly and for more audiences to come to that theater to support it. And I love how you touched on, having your mother use that, you know, money that she had to give you that experience to show you what is possible. But like you said to yourself, Ben, like, if it was more affordable, other moms and their sons and their own kids can be going to the theater a lot more and expose our students to more art and creativity if there was a less barrier to entry. And I think that is so valuable, like you shared. And that's just amazing. I can't wait to, especially this historical move of $10 to get in. I'm telling you, I'm going to get my plane ticket to go to LA to go see your stuff because I can do
Please
$10.
do.
I love that. Yes. I'm going
Our
to put
first
it out in
play
there.
our first play
Yes.
is a play that recreates one of Billie Holiday's final concerts. It's called Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill. It's one of my favorite plays. Um, Audra McDonald played it on Broadway.
Yeah.
Um, and the actress we have for our lead, Bessie, she is so incredible. Like I'm just dumbfounded. We had our like first full in person like run through rehearsal yesterday, and like
Oh,
I just God, it was incredible. And so
oh,
like it's really an exciting show. It's going to be in this really amazing little pop up nightclub called the Zebra Way. It's inside of the historic Charlie Chaplin studio in East Hollywood, and yeah, like the ambiance is amazing, and the vision for this specific one is we want it to feel like Billie Holiday has just walked through a portal into 2026 and is
yeah.
doing one of her late career, nightclub
Mm.
sets. We're gonna have a bar, drinks, everything. It's gonna be a really cool full nightclub experience.
Oh, I
That's me
love
shamelessly
that,
plugging
Ben.
it.
Oh, no shame, my dear. Plug away. I love Billie Holiday, and yeah, there's people like her, especially this time, that if she were to come back, her songs are still very resonant of what we're feeling, and it's like Billie told us, and she used her voice too to resist, and yeah. Oh, I tell you, when I one of these days, Ben, I'm gonna be in that audience, and I can't wait. Can't
Please
wait.
do. Where are you
So,
based?
yes. Oh, I definitely love that. Yes, I definitely will. So, of course, you're
Oh,
making
sorry.
history. Yeah, it's all good.
I was just gonna ask where are you based?
Oh, yeah, I'm based in Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a bit of a
right
ways.
on yeah, thank you. Right on Lake Superior. They even canceled school tomorrow because it's too cold. So,
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'm cold, and right now in LA it's like 52 degrees outside.
"Oh,
So
man, I take 52 degrees right now. It's minus 10 below right now. Yeah.
Dude, I would die. I don't retain heat at all. Like
Neither
I
do I. That's like, why am I living here? But that's a whole nother episode. I'm
I'm
telling you,
sorry. I'm
friend.
sorry. We'll
It's all
let's not get
good.
into the trauma too much.
No, right? Oh, I love it. So tell us more about your history break-in. You shared about the $10, admission, ticket free. What assumptions, does this model change what's possible in the arts? Because all of us could be doing those types of changes to open up outreach to more families and more people. Yeah, why do you think your model challenges what's possible?
I think the model is really effective at challenging the current theater landscape for a few reasons.
Mm.
So purely from an artistic standpoint, I'm biased. My thesis in grad school was developing and codifying this methodology. But artistically, I think it's very effective. I think it works really well going into these unconventional spaces, finding a space in the world that cries out for a specific play to be staged in it, as opposed to trying to like make a theater space feel like somewhere else. And because non-conventional theater spaces are not used for performance, like they are not rented out for performances. And so you save significant amounts of money just purely on the rental of the space. And all of that money is just put directly back into wages. Because like the main reason why theaters don't pay their artists or crew, there's three reasons.
Mhm.
Either they are charging for tickets and they have money and stuff, right? Like, but their venue is insanely expensive and they are basically from an administrative and taxes standpoint super bogged down because it's very expensive
Yeah.
to own and maintain permanent performance spaces in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That's not the only reason for any of them though. That's not enough.
Okay.
The other
Yeah.
that's part of it. It's either that plus they have greedy admins at the top who are making way too much money, or they just outright like don't have a like way of generating money for the show that is not purely based on ticket sales. Like they're not diversified in such a way that they can actually like maintain their theater without charging really high prices. And
Yeah.
a lot of some theaters like are the worst of all the worlds. They charge really high prices. They give, the biggest paycheck to the people at the top and they pay their artists and crew peanuts, like that's a lot of regional theater in this country. And that's why
Yeah.
race or I shouldn't say her name, but that's why that professor reacted the way
Yeah.
she did. And it's like it was valuable to
Yes.
learn that.
It
Um,
is. Yeah.
but yeah, so it's like, it is really about finding a way to not be in one of those permanent spots, I think, or like just really funneling all of the money into wages where you can. Cause like that's the other thing is like we save so much money from lack of scenic design costs, lack of props. Like there's always going to be prop and scenic costs. But like when we run
Mhm.
a show, like for instance, the Zebra Room one,
Mhm.
I think we're spending maybe $100 in props for the whole show,
Wow.
which is
But I
insane.
love that.
That's not
Yeah, but you're also immersing the audience into the
mhm.
experience.
And we're
And like
spending
you s
nothing other than the
yeah,
rental fee for the space on the
yeah.
scenic design. Everything else is just adjustments that are free to make that just require like
Love that.
design knowledge. Like everything about the
Love that.
space is pretty much already where we need it to be. I am in a
Yeah.
way kind of scenic designing myself out of scenic designing the show with the methodology. Like I like to joke that I'm only half the designer. The other half of the designer is everyone who's ever existed or contributed to the space.
Oh, I
Um,
like that.
you
Yeah.
know, but like it is so much cheaper to work in these spaces. And if you take that money and funnel it into wages, like that makes up a lot of the difference. And then past that, it's just about it being equal, I think, because if everyone's making the same wage, it doesn't take that many people to make a theater production. Um,
Mm.
like our minimum costs to run one show for like actually I can literally pull it up right now. Like
Mhm.
I mean, this is getting a little nitty gritty, but like just to like give some context,
Yeah, I love
um,
that. Yeah.
for us to run this full show, like start to finish, um, we need about $77,000. A lot of which we've already raised. We've already raised about 15,000. And a lot of that money is going to get raised during the run of the show because we sell alcohol. But like
Yes.
that is paying a living wage in Los Angeles to um yeah, 5 artists for 8 weeks, 2 artists for 4 weeks, 1 artist for 5 weeks.
It's incredible. That's incredible, Ben.
And that's including all of our production costs. Now, that doesn't include the costs of like concessions and stuff that we have to buy
Yeah,
beforehand
yeah.
and then sell. And
Yeah,
that doesn't
yeah.
include our marketing either. So if you want to include marketing, that really comes out to
That
closer to
goes
like
up.
83, 84. But like that
Yeah.
is not a significant amount of money to run 25 performances
Holy cow.
over the span of a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah. And I
And it's like,
love yeah.
I was just gonna say, it's like the model really is effective at saving money. All you have to do is not be greedy and put it where put and like split it evenly. And like you
Yeah.
will, if you're selling alcohol, if you're selling concessions, like obviously we're a nonprofit. This is not a model for
Yeah.
someone who wants to make money. You know,
Oh,
this is not a
yes. Oh,
model for
yeah.
a theater that wants to that wants to like be bringing
Mhm.
in revenue. But
Yeah.
it is a model for people who want to make theater, who want to make art, and who want
Art.
to serve their community and have it be affordable. Um,
That.
and you know, the radical $10 affordability, I've been told by almost every theater mentor and like industry person that that's just too low, that it should be 20, that we should do a sliding scale, that it should be like, okay, it's $10 if you're like actually working class, but you know, we
Mhm.
do it 30 for, you know, middle class people, so
Mhm.
on. It's just
Mhm.
like, no. All of that is just ways that is going to like if you're a working class person, if you're poor, if you're struggling to make ends meet, seeing that it is a thing that normally costs more, and then you have to fill out some paperwork or do some kind of process to get the reduced
No.
ticket. Like,
That's more work than you need. Yeah.
you're working class, like, you're busy, you're stressed, you're tired. Also, it can be a little, like, condescending as well.
Irritating.
It can make you
Yeah.
feel
Like
like you're
you gotta
less than some of the
audition.
other audience
Yeah.
members. Like, "Oh, I
Yes.
can't oh, I'm the one that they're all paying for because I can't afford it." Like
Mhm.
and, you know, in a way that is technically true, but, like, that's why I think it's really important that the price is consistent for everyone. It's
Right.
$10, that's all, no questions asked. And
Yeah.
if you're working class, like, you can afford $10 for a show if it's
Yeah.
something you actually wanna go see, to take yourself
Yeah.
out for a night. If you're a family, if you're a family of 4, $40 for a night of entertainment for the family is
That's
unheard of
amazing.
these days.
It is
Like,
so unheard of.
I
Yes.
mean,
Oh,
going to the
yeah.
movies with a family of 4 is an over $100 thing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so and also,
Yeah.
like, I mean, we serve drinks, but because we're a nonprofit, we get a special, liquor license. This is an LA specific thing. They basically let us have a liquor license that is, like, unrestricted, for, like, $75 a day. Um, and we essentially just have to, like, follow all of the rules, have liquor certs, pay our taxes, and do everything appropriately.
Oh,
But
oh,
aside from
yeah.
that, like, that's literally all they charge, and we keep all of the
Oh, that's
profit.
awesome.
And so that's really effective for, like, you know, having money be produced during the run of the show. But
Yes.
leading up to it, you know, that's the hard part is getting the grants, getting the crowdfunding. You know, we've
Yes.
raised about $5,000 in grassroots crowdfunding support. We've received a $15,000 grant um, from the Dinwiddie Foundation.
Nice.
It's NBA player Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the great people. But
That's
yeah, no, so it's
amazing.
like it is hard to get that rehearsal budget part of it covered. And so that's going to be the biggest challenge for anyone trying to use this model is like
Mm.
it getting the money for rehearsals and getting through it and paying people during rehearsals. Because you know, we're
Yes.
equity, we're union. We were paying a union wage and we are,
Yes.
you know, running a professional show. And so that $10 price then, you know, that accessibility is still very important, but we ask the people who come see the show like, "Hey, you know, we have like a little poster board that has a QR code and
Right.
it says, "Hey, you know, if you
Yeah.
have the means to pay more, please consider doing so. It's fully tax
Yeah.
deductible." And at the end of the show on the way out, there's a thing that's basically like in a slightly more tactile way of saying, "Hey, was that worth more than $10 to you? Like, was that an amazing experience for $10
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you happen to be financially secured? Please consider making a donation. If you donate through this QR code, you will essentially be tipping everyone who was involved with the process because
Oh, I
once
love
all of our
that.
base production costs have been met, once base
Yep.
wages are met, once design, rental fees, all that stuff is done, any additional money raised by the show from alcohol, concessions, donations at the show, ticket sales, if they're a factor, ticket sales are almost a non-factor for us because of how cheap
Yeah.
they are, but
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
exist. So once the
Yes.
costs are met, you know, any of additional money is just added to a pot. And then at the end of the show, that's split evenly based on time
Essentially.
worked. And so, like, if you see the show, and imagining being a wealthy person who is, nice, um, I
Mhm.
go see this show and it's really, really good. I just have a great time. And it's like, wow, I paid $10 for that. And it's like on the way, I was like, okay, I can make a $50 or $100 donation because I would have paid that
Yeah.
much for that quality of a show. And you're telling me it's
Mhm.
going to go directly to essentially tip the cast as well as everybody who was
Yes.
involved with the production. Like, I know I would make that donation. I would be
Heck
thrilled,
yeah.
you know?
Yes.
'Cause that's the
Same.
other thing too
Yeah.
is when you're an artist or when you're a worker, if the thing you're involved with, if the show or whatever it is really popular, the business is doing super well, it's selling amazing. We're sold out every night. We're selling tons of drinks. We're producing all this great money and your wage stays exactly the same. You don't share in any of it. Like it's in the theater world, you,
Yeah.
you as an actor, you're getting paid through regardless if the show is a flop or an absolute
That's
blockbuster.
fair.
And that doesn't make sense to
Yeah.
me. I think artists and crew,
Mhm.
and that includes people like our house manager, our security guard. Like,
Yeah.
why is it that you running security and keeping literally everybody safe and
Safe.
making
Yep.
sure it is an okay environment for people to see theater? You're handling anyone who gets too drunk, you're handling anyone who
Yes.
causes, problems. If ice shows up, you're locking the door, like
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
doing all of this stuff to make things possible, to make it happen. We can't run the show without you. And the show's
Yeah.
doing amazing and you're getting paid the exact same hourly rate regardless. Like that doesn't make sense to me either. It's not just the
Yeah.
artistic people who deserve equity in the success of the thing they're working on. It's everybody
Everybody.
who's working. So
Love that. And don't you feel too that the folks that are working in your organization, they feel even more compelled to see the success of your productions because it's like, hey, I got skin in the game too. Like we all rock together, we all work together. And if it fails, we all fail. If it succeeds, we all succeed. I just love that model of, literally being in that village together and working together. Oh,
the
God,
idea is to try to
Ben.
create buy-in. I want everyone who
Yes,
works
that
with us to
buy-in.
really care and really want it to do well. That's the thing. It's
Yes.
like a lot of times you'll find the whole starving artist thing of like, getting paid in passion, getting paid in experience. And it's just like, no, you're a professional. You deserve to eat. You deserve to have the
And live.
dignity of being paid
Yes.
a full-time wage. And, obviously that is a very commonly talked about thing in the arts world is the artists being
Mhm.
underpaid, but like no one ever
Yes.
talks about the crew. No one ever talks about
No, they don't.
the people who are also equally essential to the thing happening, not being
Yeah,
paid
behind
fairly.
the scenes.
And so
Yeah.
we're really about the idea is like I want to create this sense of like, yeah, that's my security guard. That is him keeping me safe and making it so I can do my work. I want that
Mhm.
guy to be getting a bonus too. I want the money that people donate because they saw my awesome performance to not just benefit me, but to benefit him because I can't give this performance without him standing there.
Without him. Oh, that is so good. Oh, I love that, Ben. Oh, yeah.
Sorry to gender the security guard. Generally, they are men, but anyone,
I
and
feel
our
you.
security guard could be anyone. Truly,
Anyone
Once
that wants to keep everybody in that space safe and
it has
comfortable.
the ability to
Totally
do so.
agree.
Exactly.
Yes, I
So
love that. Oh my gosh, Ben, this is amazing. So, you've been talking about especially the importance of people that work behind the scenes, people in the front of the scenes of your place, and that community, function, and I like how you've touched on, how your organization responds to the political climate, like you said, looking out for ICE agents. And how does it also, um, you know, how does the community extend the life of the production beyond the performance? Are there any examples that you could share with us of like what your community has been watching, you do and in this action, like what have they been receiving or pushing back on? Yeah,
yeah,
please.
so we did a test run production in 2024 of a play called Glue by a friend of mine named Lynn Mari. Brilliant play. And it's set in a wine bar. And so we did it in a real wine bar in Venice. And, we did it like a very short run. It was like five shows, over a long weekend. And it was just a proof of concept for the design methodology one, and also a first staging for Lynn so that her play could have That's a big thing for playwrights is like you need that first staging for theaters to take you seriously, and to like actually produce it for like a world premiere kind of deal. And so, we got to help each other out by doing that together. And yeah, I mean, it went well. The community responded really well to it. Those who came, we struggled a bit with marketing. We didn't sell as well as we were hoping. But those that did come and see it responded really well. Actually, one of the coolest responses I got, which really helped kind of, I guess, even further like embolden my confidence in the design methodology, was that there's a bar fight scene in the play where like a fight breaks out at the bar, and the way that the seating was all done, it was just like the action of the play was happening at the bar, and everyone else was just like, you're just in this restaurant.
Yeah.
um and so when the bar fight broke out, um, people reported after the show having like that genuine flight or fight response that you
Mhm,
have when
mhm,
a fight breaks
mhm.
out in a bar of like, oh, do I need to like get out of dodge? Is this gonna hit? There's a moment where one of the ladies grabs a wine bottle and tries to throw it, and another character comes and catches her wrist to stop her.
My
And
God.
she was trying to throw it at a character who had an audience member sitting right behind her. And the audience member, when the bottle went up, literally ducked.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that's your instinct,
yeah, and so it's like that moment where you forget where you are, where you're, like, fully realized and fully immersed in this world, like, that is what we're shooting for from an artistic standpoint, and the community definitely responded well to it and seemed to, confirm that that was, like, actually happening and pretty effective. And then also alongside of just, wanting to serve the community through art, we're also very focused on the content of our plays, what it's about. We have a program where we have like, community leaders or social experts or other people who have, know-how in whatever the play is talking about, like come in and do a talk back after the show. Well, we have creative talkbacks, where audience members can talk to the cast and crew and, creative team. And so it's like we'll do these community things where we can really let our audiences engage directly with the work and engage with people who are experts about what the work is about, you know?
That part, instead of guessing or, "Oh, I heard this person say," no, I love how you touched on that expertise. It's like, "Sit down, let's learn together." Let the
Exactly.
expert come in and share. Yes.
The
Oh
first
my
show is
god.
Lady Day. That one deals a lot with Billie Holiday's addiction. And, so we're going to have one of our talkbacks is going to be an alcoholism expert, coming in and
Mhm.
talking about how artists often like are really easy victims for addiction because of the social situation that you are
Mhm.
in, the
Yeah.
professional situation, the moving around, all of these things, and it's like the way that
Even
you're
trauma.
constantly exposed to
Mhm.
it and the new
Yeah.
traumas and all this stuff. It's like it's a really big problem for artists, and it killed her.
Yeah.
It literally killed
Yes.
her.
Yeah.
And it's why we didn't get more Billy than we could have had. It's why Billy didn't get to spend more time with us that she probably wanted to spend. And
Yes.
like so like that's just as important to us as well. Like that really is something that we make sure to maintain is this is with these all good. I guess at the end of the day, like I really just want to start having people understand like this is all interconnected. You can't have one
All
without the other.
interconnected.
You
That
can't
part.
you can't
Yes.
be, doing the right thing and paying artists a living wage if the audience members have to be wealthy to come see the show. You
Yes.
can't
Yes.
be doing social justice if you're not accommodating people who are disabled or not,
Yes.
um, actually centering perspectives that are otherwise marginalized or unheard. Like you have to walk the walk and you have to do it in every place. If you're exploiting someone somewhere, you may as well be doing it everywhere. And I know that's not
Yeah.
technically like true. I know that there's,
I
a
get
big
it.
difference between being Amazon and being a company that does one thing wrong.
Yes.
Like
Oh,
I know
yes.
there's a
Yeah.
difference, but for me, when it comes to making art, like the whole point of this is the human side of it. It's
The
this
human
it's this
side.
connection with your fellow person, your fellow community, and it's like I don't want that to be anything other than accessible and welcoming for people.
That-
The only people we're not welcoming to are those who are intolerant, you know?
That's it. Yeah.
We that's why we have security, like it's like if somebody comes in
Awesome.
and like we're doing a show and there's someone who's trying to make a big disruption because they're a
Disruption.
Trumper or
Yeah.
whatever, it's our performances are private events. Your ticket acts as an invitation. You're an invited
Yes.
guest and can be
Yes.
uninvited at any time if you decide to make
Yes.
it an unsafe or an unenjoyable experience for those around you. And like that especially is important because we focus on marginalized perspectives and we want the spaces that the shows happen in to feel like they are that community space. A really commonly reported thing, especially among Black people in this country that I talk to, like my Black friends, but like just Black people in general, like you ask them about theater, you talk to them about theater, and it's like one of two things. I mean, if they're a man, they're probably like a lot of time, they're like, oh, theater, gay, whatever. Like that's frequently the thing, and it's like, oh, have you ever actually seen theater? And it's like, well, no,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it's like, why
Yeah.
haven't you seen theater? Because it's all white. And it's like, even
Mm.
when Black people wanna go see Black plays, written by Black people, directed by Black people, starring Black people, they still have to go to a white theater in a white neighborhood to see it, you know?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
my director for or our director for Lady Day, Sky, Black woman, went to go see, Top Dog Underdog by Susan Laurie Parks at, Pasadena Playhouse. This is a play that explores the way in which American capitalism and, hustle culture
Yeah. Yeah.
basically crushes and turns young Black men against each other.
Yeah.
Um, she went and saw this play and was one of 3 Black people in an audience of over 500.
What? I mean, I'm not surprised, but also you had
Pasadena
me at
Playhouse.
Pasadena. Yeah, you had me in
And it's like
Pasadena, to
who
be
is this
honest.
for? This just feels
Who
like
is this
modern
for?
minstrelry to me because it's like
Yes.
this is Black art about the Black experience, Black actors, everything, and it's like it is just being done for the entertainment of rich people. This is not for the benefit of
Yes.
the community this came from, and so
Yeah, and
that's
the
what we wanna be the
tokenization
opposite of.
of it all. And again, not further learning of why that play was created and like you said, proximity too.
Exactly,
Are you here for
and
just entertaining or here to actually be immersed in the art of what they're trying to interpret to you? Yeah.
exactly, and it's like, a really common thing I've heard, especially, like, I mean, one of my closest friends is totally into the arts, he
Mm-hmm.
loves art. When I first met him, like, he genuinely had, like, 0 interest in theater as a concept, because to him, it was just an entirely white thing. He had never even, like, experienced theater as a thing that is like could even occur in a Black space. Like it is
Mm,
an automatically white space. Like I took him to see A Strange Loop, which is, incredibly queer, like basically entirely about the queer Black experience.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and like the audience was still like 60% white. And it's like,
Wow.
yeah, like even though this show is literally because he himself is queer. So like my friend is like the perfect target audience for this play, and they
Yeah.
still feel like a guest. They feel like
Wow.
they are not able
Yes.
to experience this as it was really intended because they're still a guest in a
Exactly.
white space. That it's not the audience is not operating under the rules of a Black space when it's live performance. They're operating under the
Mhm.
rules of a white space, and those are different rules.
So different. And just how you even touched on it too, Ben, of how we spoke earlier in this interview of, yeah, unaffordability to go in. You have to be of a certain, income, socioeconomic status. And it's not just to go for entertainment, but as a special occasion, it's oh, we go, we have season tickets or, we're active volunteers into this. And those spaces of where they are located, those theaters, those historically created theaters are in historically affluent places, and again the proximity, the opportunity and the access to get into those spaces, of course you're going to feel like a guest even though your story, your lived experience is on that stage, and oh, yes, we still have a ways to go, Ben. And I'm just so excited, that you have looked at this as an opportunity to reframe and reimagine the whole theatrical experience. And first and foremost, you had me at wine bar. Like I'm telling you, my man, I am getting a ticket. I am saving up because I do want to go to one of your productions.
I mean, if you
Especially
like Billie
that
Holiday, this one's
I
definitely
love
the
Billie Holiday. Yes, and I created a few Billie Holiday lesson plans on my website for
oh
teachers to
wow.
It's a beautiful book, Mr. and Lady Day. It's for elementary students about Billie Holiday and her love of dogs and how she would
Oh,
travel with her dogs everywhere she would go. And they were her sanctuary when everyone around her, and like you said, the
her dog
influences
is in the
of
show.
I'm telling you, Ben, there's a reason why we are in this conversation together. I am so excited. Yes. Oh my gosh. So, I'm just so proud of what you're doing and just having those voices of our marginalized community that you have it, you know it, you speak it, you feel it, and you're giving everybody in your organization how they feel seen, valued. That's the biggest thing I've heard from you is the value of each person in your organization doing the work and working together in harmony and taking away those naysayers is like, well, you know what? There is an expectation. You pay for that ticket, even if you're in Broadway. There's an expectation of decorum. If you're here to see things, even if you don't agree with it, there's just that mutual respect and civility to be in that space together. Is where can my folks find you? I'm going to have all of your stuff in my show notes,
Yeah,
but just
please.
for people that are listening and just getting excited to be a part of your, Space Pirates, theater collective, where can they find more of you, Ben?
Yeah, so if you go to spacepiratstheatercollective.org, you can read all about us. Theater is spelled R-E. Yeah, we're pedantic.
Love it.
And if you want to check us out on Instagram, it's just Space Pirate at Space Pirates Theater Collective, all one word. If you start typing space and pirates, it'll almost certainly come right up in the Instagram search bar. But yeah, our first play of our 2026 season, which will, if fully successful, make history.
Oh, it will.
Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill. It opens February 6th, which is already approaching us. Um,
Yes.
and it's going to run for a month. It's going to run 25 performances, 6 shows a week plus one. Yeah, if you read about us on spacepiratstheatercollective.org, you can see all about the work we do, our core tenets that we operate by. I kind of talk through a lot of them over the course of this
Yeah, yeah.
call.
Oh, good.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we need all the support we can get. If you're in the LA area or you're going to be, please buy a ticket. We'd love to see you there. We have a great drink menu. Drinks are also not overpriced, as well. That's another thing is like we don't gouge on concessions. We're not trying to like extract value from our audiences. We're trying to serve them. So,
Exactly.
the standard our specialty cocktails are like 15, which in Los Angeles is
Yeah.
for an event is very reasonable and they're not like
Yeah,
watered down.
yeah.
And like we sell
Oh,
reasonable
significant.
concessions and all that. It's like we want everyone who comes to see a show to have a great time. And we don't
I
want it to be
love
like,
it.
well, I can afford it because I have a $10, ticket, but then the cocktails are 25, so I guess I'm just gonna have water. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want it to be completely, unaccessible for the actual experience itself as well. So yeah, please check us out if you have if the work we're doing inspires you in any way, and you want to share it with other people, or if you want to make a donation or give us a shout out to someone who might. Everything really helps. All the funding that can be given, it goes an insanely long way for us as a nonprofit, and any contributions fully tax deductible. So we would be so
Awesome.
honored and so grateful to have any of you lovely listeners support. Or at the very least,
Yes.
we would just love to see you at a show or have you share what we're doing on social media, get more people talking about it. Because, we really believe that this model could be adapted and used across the country to make affordable and accessible theater that is exciting, that's community focused, that is, using the spaces that already exist in the community and that are generally underused. There's so many ways this could, expand and really create more paid opportunities for artists while still being affordable for audiences. And
Yeah.
yeah, I would just be honored to have you, dear listener, supporting us in any
Yeah.
way by sharing or contributing or anything. Yeah.
Well, this is amazing. Ben, you are such an inspiration. Just thinking outside the box for everyone in your community to have the access and the joy and all the emotions that come with enjoying a theater experience. And I just love your vibe, your energy, and shout out to our moms, who raised us
Love you, mom.
well to yeah, love you, mom, to continue to spread the creativity that we both had in our lives to share it with the masses, in a positive way. And for you listeners, I encourage you to explore Space Pirates Theater Collective. Follow their work, support this organization that aligns values with action. And all of Ben's links will be included in the show notes. And as always, if this episode gave you the language, courage, and clarity, share it with someone who believes culture can and should be better. Especially for all of our theatrical artists out there, you should be able to live and work in a equal and respectful way. So I will see you here all same time next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.